Welcome to I don't even know what we're going to call it yet. I don't know if it's a podcast, if it's a YouTube. It's just a way for me to distribute information to fellow therapists. And we're going to go over one of the more difficult things I've done in business today, which is, wait for it, raising your prices. I've only actually done it 2 times in my entire career, because it gives you that gutted, visceral feeling, that imposter syndrome, the fear that if you do this, people will no longer show up, you'll lose your business, and that kind of monster in the head of worry continues and continues, which is why it took me so long to do it. So let me give you a brief story as to me raising my prices, how long it took me, and then what has happened after I actually did it. So the first time I ever had prices was $85 an hour. How did I come up to that magic number? Was because I had a boss, and the boss says it's 85. And this was also in 2000, let's see, it's gonna age me a little bit, 2006, 2007, okay? And I kept it at that price until at least 2016, 17, maybe even 18-ish, I think 17. I changed it from $85 to $100. And it was, I thought it was as if I crossed the English Channel. I was so excited about it. And of course it helps when you up your prices. But the biggest thing I want really you guys to sink in about is let's get over all the fallacies and the fears of it. Okay, so I raised it from 100. Now in 2022, I raised my prices from 100 an hour to 140. A big jump, it seems. Okay, so raising your rates is probably one of the more difficult things you're going to do as a manual therapist. I think as a therapist, we're very empathetic people. So when people are in a tough time or when people are hurting, right, especially that's kind of what got us into our job. People come to us because they're injured, they're in pain, and we have the empathy to help them. So what I commonly find when I ask people, have you raised your rates in 2022? It's a question I ask our Facebook group often, is people will say, no, right now is not a good time. You know, people are, the economies, we see inflation in the economy, we see people have gone through a tough time in COVID. That is 100% true. The prices are going up. So let me ask you a question, just pure logic here. If prices of everything are going up, what happens mathematically when you don't change your prices in this scenario? I'm gonna give you multiple scenarios, but in the scenario where you don't raise your rates and everything else, gas for you to get to your studio, even if you have supplies, you can't get your supplies, and if you can get them, they're more expensive. What happens mathematically if you stay the same? I'm gonna be quiet for a minute and let you quickly just roll that math through your head. I think you figured out pretty quickly. You're going to actually make less money overall this year than you did last year. And to run a business, you can't have that mindset. If you run your business off of the idea that it's just a high empathy business and this is what you want to do, unfortunately, that's a charity and you need to have what's a 501c nonprofit. That's probably where you should really end up. And I'm not saying, and I hate to be drastic about it, but I really want to punctuate the fact that we need to run an actual business here. In a business, you need it to be a profitable endeavor so that you can continue to be open tomorrow and days after. The other thing is if you don't change your rates, you're gonna have to continually take up all the mental space and all your actual time working on more clients, right? You're gonna have to people are like, why am I so burnt out? It's like, well, you're doing 6, 7 a day. For me, 15 years in the career, at 37, my goal is not to see 6, 7 people a day anymore. I've done it. I've earned those stripes. I actually really take from Seth Godin here. He says you want to survive off of the lowest viable number you need for business. And what he means by that is when you make something very unique, very specific, it's not for the masses, right? If it's just you running a business, like mine, which is just me, myself, and I are here running a business, me sharing my gift, sharing my craft, right? This custom craft of this handcrafted. See, I add a bunch of words in there a little bit. Handcraft, it's really truly handcrafted. The amount of mistakes and failure and things I've had to accumulate through the years, it's only for those who have signed up for the journey. Okay, we're not Mick Massage here where we're mass producing massage therapists. It's just you. So why is it that you're keeping your rates at that Mick Massage rate, but yet you're operating at a very high level as if you're like a Michelin star, right? We want to go more Michelin star than Mick Massage, okay? And to do so, your rates need to reflect that because rates always are telling a story. Okay, if somebody comes in here, and again, I'm in sports therapy, so people are coming in here with the result in mind. How am I not realizing that the time it takes for me to accumulate the knowledge, the diagnostic, not diagnosis, I don't want to get in weird realms with people, but the diagnostic of like, let's decipher what the heck's the problem and what needs to be done. That's a very specialized thing, and your price needs to reflect the fact that you're specialized in that direction. So it does absolutely, price tells a story. So that's one reason I want to really get you guys to think of it that way. I have a little note here. Let me check my notes here. So another thing I get asked is what happens if you lose clients? This actually happened to me. So I upped my prices and it didn't go bad. So what happens when you actually change your prices from 100 to 140 an hour? I had some clients who were lower than my average rate. And I'll actually tell you, I have had a couple clients, again, that empathetic mind runs that I charged them like $70. Even at my $100 rate, so I went to 140, I bumped it up to 100. And a couple of them, I had maybe 3 clients I think I did this with. They've been with me for so long. And there's one I haven't seen yet again, and I saw him pretty regularly. And that's what ended up happening is I actually filled that spot with somebody who paid 140. And I maintained the relationship because when I handled it, here's how I actually handled it overall, because I think you probably tuned in because you want to see like, give me the actual tactical tools. Okay, let's go to that quick price change from 100 to 140. So what I did, I put on my website, as people book online, because I do most of my booking online, as they book online, I would put the date. I put a parentheses, 140 by the date, which I think was January 1st. I think I'd started the new year with it. And I kept it up there for about a month. So if anybody booked, there was no surprise. And then once it turned over, I went ahead and did that. Now there's a few people again who had that super low rate because it's such a gutted feeling. You know, naturally I'm a person who clears my throat a lot and blinks a lot. It's my little tics. I like to think it's what my mama says makes me so unique. But those were on a rise at this time. You could ask my wife. I was clearing my throat all the time, just like I was probably tough to live with because I was so stressed about it. But those few people I reached out to personally, I said, hey, one, I truly appreciate you. You've been with me for so long. And did I bump into the full rate? I didn't. I bumped into my previous rate. And again, we're talking 3 people. 3 people. Everybody else bumped up because you can't, the amount of energy it's going to take you to manage and remember, it's going to be a real problem. And especially you're going to deal with more so people going, well, Joe got that rate. Why did I not get that rate? And it's going to cause way more of a headache. Just up everybody. That's my advice. Number 2, I did not send a newsletter out. A friend of mine who is very successful in his business, I said, hey man, I know you've changed your rates almost yearly or more often than I have at least. Should I update everybody? He goes, no. You change your rates, you don't send a newsletter. I go, why is that? He goes, it's going to make you defensive and you're going to be kind of always defending your price, justifying it. And it's just not going to come off. He goes, even though you have good intentions, it's not going to come off of any other way than to diminish it. And it allows other people an opportunity to then kind of chime in and kind of give reasons why this is probably problematic, whatever. He goes, don't give an opportunity. Don't give an opportunity for people to do that. And to be honest with you, I changed my prices, had no problems, except when it started. I felt like nobody booked. I was like, oh no. I told my wife, I was like, I think maybe 120, we should rethink this. Like, I don't know if we're getting the same rate of booking. You know, and at this time, I'm not even taking into consideration that time of year, post-Christmas, is always slow because people spent their money for Christmas. They're kind of mentally recouping. They haven't quite hit that ready to restart yet. It's still cold here in the Midwest. I didn't take any of that consideration. It was completely just based on the fact, that I thought it was the pricing. And my wife said something that really punctuated for me and put me all in. She says, Ryan, you can change your prices. Just know if you do that, you're taking less than what you're worth. And that that hit me right in the chest. And I said, we're going to go all in here. And here's the other thing it allows me to do. I don't have to see as many clients. How do I fill that time? I actually fill that time doing a few things, creating other streams of revenue. I also do it taking those clients, creating something really special for them, so that way I can give them more updates. I can make a richer, more customized product. I actually find a lot of not only just high empathetic people, highly creative people are therapists. And don't you need time to be creative? Wouldn't you love to have 3 extra hours in your day for creative endeavors? For me, I actually love making content. I love doing this, and it's 1:26 right now, and I'm able to do that and not freak out that, oh no. So now let's put some rubber to the road a little bit, okay? Because I think we need to do some quick math on what the game changer is. And I was thinking about this earlier, and I picked a day where I had 4 clients. I'm like, okay, that's a pretty decent day. Before that would have been $400, right? $400 a day, 400 times 5, $2,000 a week. Not bad. Okay, now if I take it at 140 times, what is it, 4? That can't be right. Hang on, 140 times, hang on, I'm not good at math. $140, okay, times 4. My bad. $140, I keep hitting the wrong button, times 4 people is 560. Okay, 560 times 5 days a week is 280. So we're making 800 extra bucks a week, right? Let me double check that math real quick. I'll try to cut this so you don't have to look for it. Yeah, so we're making 800 bucks extra there. 800 times 4, we're making $3,200 extra dollars a month. Times 12, we're making $38,400 extra a year. Boom, done. So you increase your income, and you're able to create a more customized version of whatever you do for those who signed up for the journey, which I cannot emphasize enough. Okay? Survive off the smallest numbers. We're here for the Michelin massage. We're not here for the Mick-massage. All right? Lastly, I think there's one thing I also want to cover here. Let's look at I like to go through all the pushbacks I get. Price and tell story. Here's how I did it. Boom, 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 done. I think it gives you a pretty good place to jump off for. So I think that should wrap it up for you. I think I give you enough to chew on, but I want you to really reflect on your current pricing and ask yourself, what would you do with that extra time? And then what would you do with the extra income for that pricing? How much would you go leisure? How much would you go reinvestment with it? And I also want to point out one thing. We need to be careful. And I say this because I love you. Sometimes insecurity is masquerading as empathy. We're saying I can't raise my prices because I'm too empathetic. People are going through a hard time. But in reality, is it not insecurity? Is it not that imposter syndrome, the fear that your product's not good enough? Why would somebody pay that for you? How much of it's that? So I'm gonna challenge you this week and say, just give of yourself an act of courage, because that's what it's gonna take here. To get rid of distractions, to actually do the dang thing. It's going to take a moment, an act of courage to up your prices to the appropriate level in which you're worth. And if you love what you do like I do, you're 100% worth it. You are Michelin. You're not Mick-massage. And so that's your challenge for this week. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope to do more. Again, I talk about act of courage. I've had many reasons why the lighting wasn't right. We need to get better backdrops. This microphone, maybe I should get a different microphone that's better. The thing's not quite right for me not to do this. And I said, it's an act of courage to do it. And I just had to shoot it. And we can just only improve from here. So that's all for the week. Have a great week, day, month, and I'll see you next time.